Okay, well, we're golden. Okay, little introduction. First of all, Creig Nakano, very happy to have you on this Zoom call. A little
Happy
bit
to
of
be here.
background on the Zoom call is I teach an introduction to kinesiology class here at Evergreen Valley College, which is made up of a lot of budding future kinesiology professionals. And in the last third of the class, we talk about different careers in kinesiology. And what I like to do is have different professionals from those fields basically come talk to us just about their experience, introduce themselves, talk about what they do, talk how they got there academically and work experience, talk about what they like about the job, maybe some things they don't like, things about the earnings, their weekly schedule, and hopefully as the students follow along, they can kind of learn a bit more about the kind of the different careers. So Creig and I go back, for those who are watching this, Creig and I go back to 2011 to 2013, right before I got married. And Creig was
It was
actually,
actually it was actually before then.
to be earlier than that,
It was earlier
was
than that, yeah, because it was around 2007, 2008, actually.
even
Back
before
in
that.
back in Sunnyvale. Yeah,
Okay, was a
yeah.
personal trainer prior to I got married. That's how I kind of worked out the dates, even before that. And Craig was my personal trainer. And of course, working in kinesiology, I have, I think, a different perspective. But I really enjoyed Craig's personality was great for me, like his delivery. I wasn't motivated by being shouted at per se. Um, and when I saw him, it was a great relationship, and we ended up being friends, and we've kind of kept in contact since. Creig, I went through your LinkedIn earlier, just a little bit of a background. So Creig has got history. Creig can talk to us hopefully about both personal training and gym management, fitness management, being a general man, being a fitness manager, being a general manager, and also I saw the last one, training slate. Is that a training?
And it's currently still an app that we have. It's a web-based app, and it's basically kind of like, I guess, Trainerize,
Okay,
where the whole focus was originally focused on putting like post like physical therapy, kind of bridging the gap between physical therapy and personal training because there's a huge miss right there.
okay.
So we helped develop an app based around that, and it's still up and running. But yeah, I mean I was
Yeah,
the head
saw
the
that.
head of sales and marketing and all that kind of stuff for
Nice.
that.
And then I also
Um,
saw on there, which I remember now, used to always wear an Olympic top. Is you're an ambassador for the Olympic Committee, the Beijing Olympics?
yeah, yeah, I was a brand fitness ambassador, but we also were assigned teams to work with while we were out there. My main teams that I was working with were the boxing team, some judo
Okay.
athletes, and some of the water polo athletes. A lot of hand-to-hand combat stuff, because I have a background in like some martial arts and things like that. So
Yeah,
it
I
was
see
fun.
there's a couple of boxing gyms on your history. And ultimately, you've been doing this for over 20 years. I did also notice that the
Hmm.
journey from 24-hour fitness, UFC gym, crunch fin, leisure sports, the experience is so vast. So we're privileged to have you on. And hopefully, some of the things you talk about will be enlightening for some of the people who have got some aspirations of being into personal training, personally, or even fitness and gym management. So
Hmm.
over to you. The first one, could you just kind of introduce, I'm going to give a high level. Can you introduce yourself? Going to tell us what you do, where you work, just to kind of a bit more about yourself?
Sure, sure. My name's Craig Nakano. I am a currently a personal trainer over here, or a dynamic personal trainer. Like it's kind of misleading, but um, a dynamic personal trainer over here at Lifetime Fitness over here in Folsom. I moved up here about 7 years ago, and I went from like gym management experience, and I've pretty much been in gym management from like 2007 to 2018, and that was something that I was really good at building teams, really good at training and developing personal trainers to be successful, give them the tools necessary, motivate them when they need to, and give them sound advice when they necessarily need it, or coaching. for the most part, Simon, which you're really good at. Um, so that's what I was doing most of the time, but personal training is very much similar. It's just coaching at the end of the day. And I think why I chose to come back just to personal training instead of like multi-unit gym management would be because I actually have a passion for helping people. And I love the one-on-one aspect. I like quality time. I like seeing people change for the better. And I really enjoy the developmental part and the challenge of just getting people to be better than when they were yesterday. I always strive for that 1% better mentality. So if you can get 1% better, I mean that you're already on the way to being a better version of yourself. So that's kind of
So
why I
when
jumped back into this particular field of fitness.
so when we met, you were actually you were the fitness manager at 24 Hour
Yeah,
Fitness,
I
and you were
was.
personal trainer as well, right? You would
Yeah, it's
did a
kind of
bit
like
of
a
both.
play. It was kind of like a player coach
Yeah,
thing where they wanted you to, hire, develop, coach all like a team to basically do it. Like you're trying to clone yourself, basically.
yeah,
And I thought the best way for me and what made me very successful in this business was being more of a player coach. So they can see me doing what they are doing and having success at it, but I'm also at the same time coaching 20, 30 plus trainers in a gym and making time to do all that while still managing albeit a smaller clientele because I have to have time.
yeah.
Um, but basically they see what I do and they would follow along with my examples.
Leading by
Uh,
example, right? They see you
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Do as I do. Kind of. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what as I'm going around the gym working my own clients, you kind of
yeah,
look at my energy levels, look at how I talk, look at the activities I use.
exactly. Yeah. And I think for me, that's just the best way for me to lead because I'm one of those people where I follow people like that as well. It's like if I see you doing something that's successful, I want to mirror those behaviors. I want to
Yeah.
mirror those traits, and at least adopt some of those things to myself and make them my own, and then I can apply
And
them
then
moving forward.
when I was looking, it looked like you kind of went from personal training and then you went a bit more into and fitness management, then you went more into being a general manager, right? And into a bit more kind of corporate and sales. And then
Hmm.
you kind of come back a little back into personal training, right? Is that because of some part of the general management that wasn't as appealing? I think you alluded to like the relationships, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. Different type of coaching, different type of management. When you're a general manager, you're not just focused on personal training and personal training business. You have to do the entire operation, right? So you're focused on facility management. You're focused on hiring more managers underneath you or we would call them department heads. And then you're basically overseeing a team of like four people and making sure that they're doing their jobs for their own teams. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And then, so it's like you're managing the facility, you're managing the sales, you're managing the fitness, and then your operations. So it's like you're wearing many different hats, but you have to be very versed in all of them. But what I found my most like in my heart of hearts, I was the most passionate about fitness and helping people. So that's why I always gravitated towards, sticking around the coaching, developing of personal trainers, and then having those relationships with clientele, building rapport, all that kind of fun stuff. Um, if you're a social person, if you're someone that likes to connect with people, personal training is something that I would recommend for those type of people because you're going to thrive in those kind of environments. So.
I had a similar experience in soccer when I was in my early 20s. I was quite a successful soccer coach. Then I
Mhm.
got into senior management in a business. It was still a soccer business, but I found that I was spending 30 to 40 hours a week on Excel spreadsheets and sending emails, and I was doing no
Mhm.
coaching. And around 24, 25 hours, like I actually missed the coaching part. Like my job, I still work in coaching and soccer, but my job like 10% coaching and 90% telling people off and sending Excel spreadsheets and emails. And I kind of came full circle to realize the thing that I enjoy the most is actually being with the athlete, being on the field.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly. I share the exact same trajectory of my career in terms of the coaching aspect, right? For me, I mean, I would say someone wise told me this and when I was a young trainer. I'm like, if you're just a trainer, right? Like here's like your amount of people you can actually, help and motivate, whatever. But the more you educate yourself, you're widening your amount of people you can help. You're opening your fields up to like, I can help more people. I have this linear line of education and I can do so many things and reach so many different people, right? Where it's like if you're in corporate, you go back, you stay here, but then your trajectory just goes up, right? So you're actually seeing the different levels. I'm a trainer, assistant, fitness manager, general manager, regional manager, owner, whatever it is. Like you can climb that ladder, right? And that's great if that's a career aspiration. I liked that I had a vast knowledge of things for training so I could help a wide range of people. And then I started going up so I could
Mhm.
actually reach more people and help more people. So that was my main focus when I was into management. It was more like, oh, I want to find a way to reach more people. How could I affect more people? So if I can make more trainers, say I had a team of 10, 20, and I can make them more similar to how I run a business, i.e., so they're getting more clientele, they're retaining the clientele, they have the confidence to go sell themselves to attract more clientele, and I have more people doing that. That means that they're affecting more people and like a wide range thing. So it's like if I had 10 trainers, they only had one client each, 10 clients, 10 trainers. But if I was able to help them get up to 20 clientele, now it's like you're taking that 20 and now they're affecting 200 people's lives. Right. So that's the way that was my thought process through. That's how I can better myself and help this industry, become a better version of itself. That was my mode of thinking. Right. So
So what's clear is the passion, but what's also is the diverse range of skills that you need from being a personal trainer to managing a team or even a business. They're very different skill sets. So I guess going on a little bit more now is kind of tell us about your kind of your academic and your career background. What did you go to college? Do you have to go to college to be a personal trainer? Did it help you? Kind of what did you study and where and why? And then
yeah.
after college, um, what certifications do you have to get to be a personal trainer? Like, is there additional certificates or licenses or credentials that help you support the knowledge you have?
Yeah, I mean, there's a wide range of things you can do. So I went to San Jose State. I studied kinesiology and exercise science. Pretty general in terms of what you need to get your career started in terms of like figuring out if you want to jump into personal training, be a physical therapist, doctor, whatever you're trying to do. So I went to San Jose State, finished up there. With a degree in kinesiology. Then I actually went and like took multiple certifications, right? So I didn't have to be at the time, this was like in 2004, certified to work at 24-hour fitness. They had an in-house certification. And I was like, okay, well, this is a lot different now than it was then. But the way they paid you at 24-hour was the more certifications you have, up to I think three or four, every one you would get would increase your
A lot
dollar
more
per
money.
hour. You're basically in charge of giving yourself a raise by
Yeah.
how many certifications you have. I was like, well, shoot, like in the first month I went and got three. I was like, I'm already making more than I'm making whatever 50, $60 an hour. And I'm like this 22-year-old kid.
In
And
2004.
in
Yeah.
2004, I'm like this 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid, 22, yeah, whatever it is, but I forget. Um, but yeah, I was like in charge of doing that. I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna teach people to do this, I was like, dude, get educated. Like that's give yourself a raise if you're gonna make more money in the same job. I was at
Same in
fourth
soccer.
certification. If I was the same, if I was I'm doing the same job with the same certifications, just getting paid three times more than the person that either just started or has been there but has not. went and took the initiative and got education. So I was like, well, that was an easy yes. Just invest in yourself,
Are there
right?
a couple of certificates, Craig, that you'd are there any certificates that you remember
No,
doing that?
100%. Yeah. I would say like the two, I mean, the NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, is pretty much the universal one that
Okay.
most starting out trainers go through. They have a nice base background of general personal training
Okay.
um, classes you can take, and they have a diverse amount of extra ones. So it's like you got your personal training, but then it's like this huge web of different directions you can
Yeah.
go. You know, corrective exercise, performance exercise, stretch, work with old people, all that kind of stuff. There's a wider range. One of the other ones I like, it's a guy named Dr. John Rusin, I believe, and he has like I gotta look this up real quick. Uh, Give me one
Yeah, yeah,
second.
no,
I
go
can
ahead.
throw this up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been a minute since I've seen it. But he has that pain-free performance certification, which is probably one of the like it's almost like a in addition to like the NASM,
Okay.
but like in way better depth. And he teaches you a lot about the programming aspect of stuff like that. And I would say a big portion of this job, especially now, um, while it's great to work with athletes like soccer players and all that kind of stuff, it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
It's very niche because there's a shelf life to athletes. You know, it's a young person's game for the most part, unless you're really working with like a professional sports team or a college team. You know, the jobs are very limited. So where I found like I loved working with Olympic athletes, NFL players, NBA players, all that kind of fun stuff. And they can do everything under the sun and you can push them as hard as you want. But I'd see them 3, 4 months max out of every year, and it was just so seasonal. And it's like it's really hard to maintain a business when you're doing that. So uh, I would transition to helping people that actually need it, people that have desk jobs, people that are in high paying positions, you know, CEOs, lawyers,
Yeah.
professors, um, whatever it is. But the objective at the end of the day is I'm really out here just to help somebody be better, right? I don't care what you do. I don't care, what brought you in. Like you
Yeah.
came to see me, and my objective is to figure out the root reason why you're sitting in front of me because you would come to me for a reason, and then try to figure out how to make them better and really just connect with them on
It's
that, meet them where they're at.
it's again some similar aspects to coaching again in soccer. Same thing. The more licenses you do, ours is the United States Soccer Federation. The more licenses you do, the more money you get paid. You
Yeah.
invest in doing the licenses and it comes back in your salary. And then there's also different offshoots of different courses you can do with tactical thinking or biomechanics and the same. And the second part is again, whether you're most young coaches just want to work with elite level players that they think, oh, I want to be a coach. I want to work with the best players. But quite frankly, it's actually more rewarding to work with 6, 7, 8-year-old kids and you're their first experience of soccer. And if you do a good job, they may go on to be, soccer may become part of their lives for the next 10 years. And if you do a bad job, they may never kick a soccer ball ever again. So similar
Right.
to you, when the athlete comes in, like myself, and you get to work with the athlete, but also when the middle-aged man comes in or the older lady comes in and they just want to get back onto a health and fitness journey or get active again and get mobile or overcome maybe an injury or maybe overcome you know, maybe some stiffness or some sort of from lack of exercise, and you kind of get them back on the journey, probably more rewarding than picking up an athlete and just seeing him for a month or two.
Yeah. No, I mean it's very, very similar trajectories. And like I said, it's very rewarding whether they're in young development or they are completely new to this, but they are, they've seen better days.
Yeah. So moving on, because I know we've got a time. What about your career path? The question I had there is, did you always want to be a personal trainer? You said you went to college to do kinesiology and exercise science. Is this
Hmm.
what your dream was? Did you know that, hey, when I'm 40 years old, I'll be
Ah,
managing an
no,
app? Or did you kind of just kind
no,
of stumble at,
no, no, not at all.
okay,
I actually didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew I was going to be in business of some sort. But believe it or not, my dad's a ophthalmologist, so he's an eye surgeon. So everyone thought that I was going to be the one kid of the family that was going to carry on his legacy and be a doctor of some sort. And while I share the same passion, we both share the same passion for helping people. I just couldn't stand going to that amount of school. It just
Yeah.
wasn't for me. I lacked the ability to pay attention that long and the discipline to at the time. Maybe it'd be different now, but at the time, I didn't see myself wanting to continue on to medical school of
Four more,
some
yeah, four
sort.
more, 5 more years
Or
of reading books.
yeah, and then like I also pursued uh a curiosity in like chiropractic and physical therapy. I just had a bad experience in my internship with physical therapy, so it just kind of turned me off to the whole thing because the place I went to, and this is almost the exact opposite with like training in the gym. Most of the people that are in physical therapy are there because they don't want to be there. It's because they hurt themselves.
Yes.
Um, and depending on what kind of person you run into, people get grouchy, people get irritated, and it's just like, and they're blaming you for everything, even though you have nothing to do with it. And that was my
Yeah.
experience seeing that. And I was just like, is this something I really wanted to do? And it was just, no, I didn't want to be around that. But when I did my internship as a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, I was getting paid. It just kind of rolled into it. Uh, I I felt the exact opposite. People were happy to join the gym. People were happy to see me. People couldn't wait to do a workout and just feel better. And then I had I mean, this is gonna sound kind of dark, but like my boss at the time, one of my managers, was when I first started. He's like, "There is no better profession than somebody coming in to pay you to torture them, and then they
Yeah.
walk away with a smile on their face." I was just like,
100%.
that was a unique way to look at it, but in essence, that's kind of exactly
They
what
pay you to
happens.
beat that they pay you to
Yeah,
beat them down more than they do on their own.
yeah, and it sounds so like a mixed bag of stuff because it's like at one end, it's like most of the stuff people know they need to do, but they won't actually do it unless they actually pay somebody to hold them accountable. So it's like
100%.
if anybody and anything, and what I've learned through business is if somebody invests some skin in the game, they sure as heck will probably see through it because they are investing in their own selves, right? And like even as a trainer, a coach, anybody that's in business that's taking money for a service, we owe it to that person to give them the best experience possible.
Yeah. No, I see the accountability as even a dietitian, a personal trainer. Once you've got the information from them, you could go do that on your own in the gym. But the reality is the personal trainer is the one who holds you accountable to say, no, you're going to come in, we're going to do these exercises at this tempo, at this weight. And
Yep.
often you're just paying someone to kind of keep you on track, to hold you to account.
Yeah, and I mean, that's I would say majority of the business is just the accountability and staying on top of people. And like I tell people, if you as long as you care, like people will continue to keep showing up. There's many businesses out there where if someone doesn't really care, they don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So definitely it's one of those things where if you're passionate about helping people, like truly passionate about helping people and seeing changes in people, you're gonna be very successful in any kind of business, but specifically in training or coaching of any kind, because they call trainers coaches more nowadays than just trainers. So
So
yeah.
on that success story, could you kind of give us, I mentioned earlier 24 Hour Fitness, you opened a UFC gym, UFC Fit when it first started. You were early
Yeah,
on that bandwagon. Just
ground zero, like the very for like I think it was employee number 17 or something like that. They were opening up the UFC gym. It was the very first of its kind, and it was at the time around what 2010, yeah, 2010,
okay.
2010 when UFC was at its like first real big height, when like your Chuck Liddells were there, your George St. Pierre's, all those kind of fighters were out there, and it was just a crazy concept they came up with, and it so happened the former owners of 24 Hour Fitness, it was, I think it was Mark Mastroff, and yeah, those guys, he backed it. And coming from 24, where they were actually, when 24 was actually a great place to work. I don't know how it is now, so I don't really want to speak down to 24 Hour Fitness, but they gave me my opportunity. They had a great compensation plan, and the owner at the time was Mark Mastroff. And if there's anything I could tell you about ownership or any place that you work or any kind of business that you have, it's always about the people. The people is what makes your business like the engine go. And if you invest your time and effort in the really good people, you can build great things, right? So they paid very well. They took care of their employees, and they made sure that everything was fair and people were thriving financially. And if you're thriving financially, you feel like you can do a lot more things in your life, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
I at the time he split from 24, sold it, and went on to a different venture. But 24 at that time was changing everything on how it was working. The compensation plans were less in the employee's favor, and things were just kind of going downhill in the wrong direction where we knew what was going on
Yeah.
over there. So decided to go over there, help them open up their very first one, and they have like 400 plus now.
And then you
Um,
went to, was it Crunch? After that, you went to Crunch? Crunch?
yeah, and they're the sister company of 24, or not
Okay.
24, a sister company of UFC Gym, and it was the same umbrella. Like they had multiple different brands, all the same kind of compensation plans, same kind of similar kind of leadership structure, all that kind of fun stuff. So it was a nice, easy transition from one to the other. And then again,
Do you
went,
find as you kind of go from one fitness center to the other, are they similar or are they very different in how they treat their customers and the environment in which is the working environment the same? I guess they're sister companies, so probably they are. But do you
yeah,
find that
similar
different
work,
gyms have got different
similar.
environments?
Well, the environments are always different because the people in there are always different. It's really the people that you bring in, hire, coach, develop, and then teach them how to maximize their compensation and build a business and become confident in that. And basically, what happens from there is like the entire, I guess, the vibe you can say changes in a place where if you have a lot of happy people, people are generally
Yeah.
really happy to be at work or do whatever that, or and do
The
with it
cycle
what you will,
continues. Yeah.
right? And it was like I was constantly being a quote unquote fix it person, where places were, either they had poor leadership or teams would revolt, and then they would have to make a change because they didn't want to fire entire staffs and all that kind of, that's not good for business. So they would move different managers around to different areas and see if that person could make that place better. So I became one of those people. I was the Mr. Fix It person. So I go in there, kind of not necessarily clean house, but like revive how
Yeah.
things are supposed to be rolling, and like the accountability to it, just like training. So coaching trainers is like coaching clients, right? Just like your assistant staff coaches, right? It's like you're teaching them how to be better coaches, right? So it's same rules apply with accountability, everything along the lines of that. And as long as you're doing that fair and accordingly, people start taking that to heart, and success comes from it.
And the environment changes. Well, on that, can you
Yeah.
just look a little bit kind of about what does your average day look like? What do you a 9 to 5? And do you work 9 to 5? Do you work Monday to Friday? Do you find you have to work evening? Like, what's your weekly schedule like on a day and a weekly kind of cycle?
Day in a week. So like currently right now it's about 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
Um, um, that's kind of like, your 8 hour day, 9 hour day. Oh, do with it what you will, get a break somewhere, see clientele, take a break, work out, do whatever you need to do. Some days I am here from, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because I have a high demand of clientele. And for me, it doesn't really seem like work. It's just like I'm here hanging out at the gym all day. I'm in pajamas, get to wear a hoodie and some sweatpants, and I'm walking around in sneakers. Um, just mingling with people all day, whether they're the members or my own clientele. It's a great place to be. It feels like a
Yeah.
social environment. And that was something that I need personally. Like I tried the whole work from home thing. It's not work for me, not me. Sounds great in theory,
You're a
but I
social person, Craig. That's why.
I need I need to be in an environment where there are people around to talk to. So that's
And
important to
then what
me.
about a week? Do you work weekends? Is it weekend work or is it mostly Monday? Well,
Generally Monday through Friday.
okay.
And sometimes I'll use a weekend day depending on how things are going, and I'll have that as a makeup day for some people that may miss. Very
Now, is
few
that
far between, maybe.
is that
Go
specific
ahead.
for you? Is that for you as a kind of a father and someone who's kind of, what if you were a young personal trainer? Do you still get to choose your hours, or are they
Um,
expected?
well, any place that is going to train and develop you properly is going to give you ideally a set schedule where
Okay,
you should be there. If you're trying to build a business, like find clientele, you should probably be there at the times you want to be there. Simple as that. So many times in this industry, people are like, oh, well, if they don't have anybody, they just don't show up. I mean, it's really hard to build a business if you're not in the building. So,
okay.
like I tell people, like if you're going to be in the building, like create a set schedule, and then within that set schedule, even though if you don't have clientele, we something that I would call like a highly effective schedule, where you schedule ways to interact with people, like create a booth. Um, you can make some phone calls. You can go walk the floor and prospect. Whatever it takes for you to get in front of somebody and talk to. Like the more people
But
you
sometimes
talk
you have to
to,
generate your own leads. You have to generate your own businesses to some degree.
that is 100% the job. And I mean, just like any service-based job, like if I had my own gym with my name on it and I'm the only person in that building, and I expect people to walk through that door if I don't make do communal outreach or do advertisement or anything along the lines of that. Probably
So,
not. So I'm definitely gonna
so I
go.
think, so I think on that note, then I think we've gone through some of the rewards and some of the positives, right? The fact you get to interact with people, you get
Yeah.
to walk around a gymnasium floor. What are the challenges? What would you say are some downsides? Because the reality, the grass is not always perfectly green. So, what would you say are some of the downsides of kind of the career? What were the You might never earn $1 million. I say, hey, as a soccer coach, you'll enjoy yourself, but you'll never be probably rich. What are some of the downsides to kind of the job? The grass can't be perfectly green,
No,
or maybe it is.
I would say like a downside of the job is once you get really good at something, um, or have a lot of success, there are ebbs and flows to the business, right? There are slow times of the year, fast times of the year. Your New Year's versus Christmas.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people away, so it's like sometimes you'll be really busy, and then sometimes you will have more stuff that you know what to do with. Like there's not enough hours in the day, right? But in any business, especially if it's like a gym corporate business, the you're always going to find a way to either outgrow your business or grow yourself out of the business or get out of the business because you're just not having success. So it's like, stay disciplined to the process. If you're trying to build a business, don't give up. That's definitely the easiest thing to do. But also, like, if you got pride and you're used to always getting success and you're not getting that success, this is where you really find out what you're made of. Um, I would say the other downside, if there is one, is that maybe you just can't reach enough people, right? Which is
Okay.
why I kept doing different outlets and whatnot, just to try to get more people. Like there's going to be a cap monetarily in your business, I guess, unless you have other ways to reach people. There's like the
There's
online
only so many
training.
hours in a day. Yeah.
There's like the online training business. You can, own multiple gyms, but then you have to like hire and manage all that stuff if you want to keep growing in terms of like a monetary value. But at the end of the day, it's like the hardest part in this business is just the initial beginnings where you're learning how the ropes work. Um, and then I would say when you are finding success and things kind of fall apart because they will. Like you can't win the Premier League every year, right? And
Certainly can't.
expect
Hey,
not.
Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. I'm not, yeah, well, unless you're, yeah, Liverpool or something. Um, but yeah, when things aren't going your way, like it's really easy to get down on yourself and like lose some motivation, lose some steam. But I would say like discipline wins over anything as long as you have good
So that
processes.
that was the next
Yeah,
question is what would you say is the most essential skill you need to be successful? I would imagine you need to be social. You have to build relationships, right? And probably
yeah,
enjoy interaction, right? Enjoy
yeah,
being around people. Be
yeah.
determined
Build
because I guess it's a lot. You have to be kind of a bit of a go-getter as well, right? Because you determine your own schedule. So you need to be self-motivated to a large degree. Any
right.
other essential skills you think people need?
Um, the curiosity to learn
Okay.
and finding like-minded trainers or educators that you can pull from, because the most important thing that I would say helped me is just finding people that were better in this job than I was, people that have
Okay.
been doing it for a long time. Find mentors, figure out what works for them, surround yourself with more successful people, and you'll be successful yourself. But if you surround yourself with people who are constantly failing and being negative, I mean, you can expect the exact same to happen to you. You know, this is a very much a life, like a microcosm of life, right? If I was going to be around a bunch of people that were, I guess, in essential
Draining.
poor or not motivated and just like, trying to get free handouts from everything and like playing woe is me all the time, I'd probably be that same person.
Yeah.
Where if I surround myself with people that, that are successful, have good families or um, are very successful in their jobs and like carry themselves a certain way, you're probably going to find yourself being more like those people to a degree because you're going to
Yeah.
figure out what works best for you. So,
When we spoke about in the class about surrounding yourself with
yeah,
the
yeah,
people
it's
you're
all about
around reflect on you.
it is no more true in this business than anything. So be around people that you want to be like in whatever business you're in, especially if you want to be successful. Try
And
to
that kind
find
of
your
leads on
way
to
into that door. Yeah.
kind of the last question. That is, do you have any like little kind of last little words of advice for people? Again, it sounds like, finding a mentor, finding someone in the field, but any little kind of words of advice for students who might want to pursue a career in like either personal training, health and fitness, gym management, like any advice you'd give to some of these kind of these undergrads as to how they should be kind of proceeding?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say first and foremost, make sure that try different fields. Like if you're honestly pursuing training, try different types of training. You never know what you vibe best with, right? Initially, I started out with athletes because that's pretty much coming as the ex football and soccer player. Like that's all I really
Yeah.
knew at the time. So I knew I could relate best to those people. But as time went on and I learned more and I was able to help more people with corrective exercise and things like that, then I was able to truly find that like I actually had more of a passion to help those people, right? And
Yeah.
I actually started making better, I guess, career money
Yeah.
and
Which
earning
is
more
also important.
because like there were just way more people that needed to be helped in that regard. So I found myself being more passionate about that, learning more about that, and just being able to make people better. So at the end of the day, all I cared about, and all I still do care about, is really just whoever is in front of me, whether it's somebody that wants to do training, whether it's somebody that wants to be a trainer, whatever, I can help and give them the tools to work better, right?
Yeah.
And to make and be successful in whatever they're trying to do, and giving them belief and instill all that, because it's really easy to not easy, but it's a lot easier to know that people are in your corner supporting you and you have a support system around you. So I would say,
And
yeah,
then
again, yeah, go ahead.
again, what one last thing, what would you say if we go back to the lead? What would you say your leadership style was? Just kind of one last question. We kind of gone the full circle, but again, as you're talking, I hear a lot about kind of like almost like a servant leadership. Like you get in there with your staff, you try to
Yeah.
support them, make sure they have the tools. You just a little bit on that leadership part because I think the leadership part is a lot different than the personal training part. but I think there's also how you help your clients and how you help the trainers that work underneath you. There's also a consistency there, right?
Yes. Servant leadership, like, I would say I am nothing without the people around me that I surround my people with, right? Helping them become better is
Yeah,
a huge portion of what I would do. Supporting them is a huge portion of like the leadership aspect of it. Leading by example
yeah,
is a huge part of it. And then, just honestly getting real with them and showing them that you actually care and that you're not gonna judge them on anything. Like, people do good things, people do bad things, but at the end of the day, it's like if your energy and intentions are in a place where you're gonna help people, like that is something that can be very powerful.
yeah.
So as long
Well,
as,
I
like I
think
said, you can control your intentions and your energy and your effort in what you do. So
well, I think even just in the last 35, 40 minutes, I think your passion, your personality, and the type of trainer and leader you are, it comes through in your personality as well. It comes through like this, listening to your talk and listening to talk about your jobs and how you interact with your staff. It's hard to fake a personality. And I think even in this 35 minutes, we get a very clear sense for what drives you and what you're passionate about. And when I talk to the students, I do say, if you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, you'll probably end up doing better at it. Like you said, I don't feel like I go to work. I just
no,
hang out in the
yeah,
gym,
and
and
I
that
would
shines
say
through.
I would say it's super cliche when they say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day of your life. But you don't understand that until you actually go through that. Like, if you
Yeah,
genuinely enjoy, love what you do, right? Sometimes that may make a ton of money, sometimes that may make very little. But rest assured, when you do that in your life, you will be taken care of, right? You'll find a way to be good in whatever you're doing, whether it's through proper networking, whether it's through the your service and how you serve people, or maybe the connections that you make down the road. People want to take care of you because they see how valuable you are.
yeah.
So be useful, be valuable, and be passionate about what you do. And I promise you, you can't go wrong in whatever you choose.
Well, I
So
think on that, I'd like to say thank you because I think we're almost an hour, and I know you've got
yeah,
clients
yeah,
to
I got,
go, you got
yeah,
clients to go visit. But I do genuinely want to say you've basically volunteered an hour of your time today to kind of talk on the video, which this will be shared with all of our students in our class. And I
yeah.
hope they find it valuable. And I'm super thankful for you taking the time to kind of share your career, your progression, your profession, and also advice with our students.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Thank you for reaching out. It's great to see you. And if anybody has any questions about this, you can feel free to share my
I'll
contact
share your
information.
LinkedIn. I'll share your
Yeah,
LinkedIn account. That
whatever,
way,
whatever it means, whatever. I gotta update that thing, by the way. It's a
it looks
little
good. I
behind.
was on there earlier.
That
The picture looks great.
was on a billboard one time. That was pretty funny. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Have a good day, Simon. Thank you for listening to me, and
No, no.
hope everybody and your family as well. And
You
appreciate
too.
you.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
All right. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye. You too.